I'm going to sound really old when I say this, but it was only like 17 years ago. Anyway, here goes. Back in my day, in the mob, the British Army regiments recruited exclusively from Fiji. And the reason they did this exclusively from Fiji is because of their rugby skills. So when the Fijians came over, finished their basic training, they did nothing but rugby and guard duty. And fatigues, so they just loitered around camp and tidied up and moved stuff about, and that's it. They weren't really known for their soldiering skills. And quite frankly, if the army still does that today, then it is highly irresponsible and shameful. Because, in my opinion, the defence of the realm comes before picking men who can throw a fucking ball around. Because the world today is on a knife edge. It's a tinderbox. It's about to blow up. Tensions everywhere are fucking sky high. And more than ever, we need people who can carry a rifle, stand on a wall, protect us, and make the other fucker die for his country. That's what it's all about. Now, if you were in a Welsh regiment, then, especially if you played rugby, then you were treated as a god. You were highly prized and highly privileged. Now, the only foreigner I knew of that came to my regiment, the Royal Welsh Fusiliers, was, I think he was a Maori fella from New Zealand. And this guy did nothing. He was a short, plump, ignorant fella who never went on exercise, didn't do guard, and could very much just walk around camp doing whatever the fuck he felt like. And to my regiment's shame, they only recruited the guy simply because he was like a semi-professional. And my regiment was desperate to win the Army Cup, which they did win a few times. I remember once my regiment went up against the Alphabet Regiment, and that was the RGBW, or the Royal Gloucester, Berkshire and Wiltshire Regiment, and their entire rugby team, save for the captain who was white, they were all Fijians. And I also remember they narrowly went on to win that Rugby Cup final. But what I most remember about that match was cheers from both regiments shouting, "Well done, Fiji," and it's true. So, it's a sad fact, and I really feel for all the people, the young lads, who had their hearts set on joining the army back in my day, and yet they couldn't get in because some foreigner was really good at rugby. And so it's like a discrimination of sorts, isn't it? And the British Army have now gone down that route of positive discrimination against white people. Positive discrimination is still discrimination. It's wrong. But, it's like open season on white people all year round by everyone. And it's sinister, in my opinion, when the people who defend this island prioritise skin colour and diversity and multiculturalism over national security. Doesn't that make you worried? It makes me worried. The enemy doesn't give a shit about diversity and multiculturalism. The enemy isn't there to tick boxes. The enemy recruits killers. And so the RAF have paused job offers for white men to meet impossible diversity targets, the news says. So they don't want white men anymore. They want women and people from ethnic backgrounds. Make of that what you will. In my view, I think that's a huge fucking mistake. Like I said earlier, I couldn't give a flying shit what the skin colour or the gender of serving RAF, Army, Navy personnel is, because what really matters is the defence of the realm. And this is happening under a Tory government. I told you in yesterday's video, the Conservatives in government aren't really Conservatives at all. They are pushing woke, socialist policies which are weakening our nation. Once again, I'm going to bring up the name Yuri Bezmenov. And he was absolutely right when he said the enemy are using tactics which undermine national pride, which undermines patriotism, and they are making the next generation, our future, hate themselves, their own skin colour, culture, history, the lot, and that's how you weaken a nation, then that's how you take over. And that cancer has already seeped into our armed forces, and it's wrong, and it needs to be rooted out. I mean, what the hell goes through these people's minds? Are they that scared of, I'm going to say Twitter again, maybe that guy's right, I am obsessed with Twitter. Maybe they're obsessed with getting Twitter on their side and pandering to them so they don't get abuse on there. Or maybe they're scared of Black Lives Matter turning up at RAF bases to protest all year round. Or maybe they're scared of some coward, little weedy coward in a black mask from Antifa who will throw bottles at them. But whatever their reason, it's fucking wrong. And I believe there are Marxists who have infiltrated the army, and they've gone through Sandhurst, because Sandhurst recruits exclusively from people who have A-levels and degrees. These people go to colleges, universities, colleges and universities here in the UK now, they are seeped in communist, Marxist, left-wing extreme rhetoric and ideology, and that ideology is a cancer, and that cancer has gone into the army through Sandhurst because our officers are spreading it. And looking back, I remember my old platoon commander. He was a young second lieutenant, just came from Sandhurst, and as soon as he got into the platoon office with the sergeant, he put up a poster of Che Guevara. Che Guevara is highly revered by the left because he was a communist revolutionary. And he tried to spread that by going to another South American country. I think it was Bolivia. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, the Bolivians weren't really into his left-wing bullshit, so they captured him and shot him. But what some lefty students don't understand and know about Che Guevara, he was a racist and a homophobe. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. Now, I seem to remember the head of the RAF, Air Chief Marshal Sir Mike Wigston. He made like a Christmas advert for the RAF, and he was on telly, I remember. I think it was last Christmas or the year before, I'm not sure. It was recent anyway. And it was one of the most cringy things you ever saw. It was him and another high-ranking RAF officer wishing each other Merry Christmas. And at the end, the RAF logo had like an LGBT rainbow thing which burst on screen like, I don't know, like a glittery thing. It was very cringy. So no doubt this fucking idiot, this woke idiot is behind this nonsense. And the head of the armed forces, Admiral Sir Tony Radakin, he should be pulled in for this as well. I mean, this is nonsense. This is racism against white people. And as a white person, I'm getting really sick of being discriminated against because I'm white. And I'm being demonised by some extreme ethnic minority group here simply because it really boils my piss. This happens and people just roll over and take it. They should end this nonsense now. They should deroot this Marxist ideology that's weakening our armed forces, which in turn weakens our country. And we should be recruiting the right person for the fucking right job. Our British armed forces have fucking centuries of tradition, victories, winning battles, conquering countries, conquering continents, being feared, respected, having famous servicemen who did famous heroic deeds. Our commanders, generals, field marshals are among the most revered and the most studied by nearly every armed forces in the world. And I wonder often what all that history would be thinking, looking at the British armed forces of today, lowering themselves, degrading themselves to this level. And this political correct nonsense is just throwing all that away, forgetting it, and by reducing themselves to, being a politically correct ideology rather than being concerned with the defence of the realm. This island, which all our soldiers died for centuries, is about to be handed over. Every inch of it is going to be handed over to an ideology who haven't even fired a rifle. And that saddens me, it really does, and it should sadden you too. It's really, really infuriating. Anyway, that's my video, that's what I think. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and until the next time, Roger Trout.